Welcome to Wisconsin in the middle of winter. You have to forgive me for not setting up the cameras yet. Still gotta get to the location I want to film at. So you might be saying, what the heck are you doing outside in 20-something degree temperatures when you do a show about gaming? You'll see. You'll see. I'll start by wondering aloud, how many people just fast forwarded to the end of the video so they could figure out if they should leave praise or death threats in the comments? They're going to be sorely disappointed because context will be everything here. So yeah, yet another stupid internet video talking about Gamergate to throw in the pile. To be honest, there's dozens of other gaming topics I'd rather talk about, but this one's not going away anytime soon, so fine, I give. If you're worried I'm going to go on a multi-video rampage talking about one thing or another, just relax. This is the only video I'm planning on doing to address Gamergate. So, let's get this over with. In order to understand my stance about Gamergate, the first thing I need to do is something that might sound unrelated. I need to prove that ancient aliens landed in Wisconsin. There's a location outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin that some believe was created by aliens. This map was created by experts showing an aerial view of the location as the markings can only be seen from the air. These markings have also been in place for generations. The dark black lines are the predominant features of this location. They do not run perfectly parallel to the compass headings, but instead they are both exactly 12 degrees off both the north-south and east-west lines. Some believe this is a sign of our local universe, as in 2006 scientists proposed our local solar system actually has 12 planets, which would have been impossible for our ancient ancestors to know about. Is this a true sign of our local universe? But by far, the most compelling evidence comes from the lines themselves. If you were to draw a line along the east-west line along a global map, you'll find that the line comes extremely close to other similar sites all around the world, such as these in La Crosse, Wisconsin, Rochester and Owatonna, Minnesota, Allegan and Battle Creek, Michigan, and the most condemning, similar ground markings in Broome and Calbertour, Australia. These are not mere coincidences. The fact that these lines are next to a larger set of markings outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, is also very telling. Clearly, this ground marking was placed by intelligent creatures. Was it placed there as a beacon for alien spaceships who still use it to this day? Locals report that strange lights have been seen around the area at night. Local officials know about these markings and lights, and yet they remain silent. What are they hiding? The markings bear an unmistakable resemblance to a weapon. Could this be an ancient stockpile or an ancient research facility? You guys want to see it? I know where it is. Come on! This will be fun! And after quite a bit of driving, here we are at the location. So where exactly is this super secret location? Right behind me over here is runway 28 at the Waukesha County Airport. Yeah, I'm being an ass, but there's a purpose to this. Actually, come to think of it, if I really was being an ass, I'd just end the video here and let you figure out the lesson for yourselves, but I know better. So what does this have to do with Gamergate? Well, pretty much everything. Here's how I see it. This whole thing consists of several groups trying to force their side of a problem down your throat. They'll back up their claims with appeals to authority, cherry-picked facts, appeals to emotion, manufactured drama, and pretty much outrage just to force you into conformity with their views. When someone begins with a conclusion and they want to reach that, they'll ignore all other evidence that doesn't conform with their conclusion just to make their point. This is the real danger of just starting with your conclusion, because most people use information they find on the internet the same way that a drunk person uses a lamppost, for support, not illumination. To that end, I see Gamergate as being an emotionally charged debate. Emphasis in the word debate. Debates aren't about compromising to a conclusion, it's about the argument. It's about cramming selective information into your opponent's face. It's about scoring points with people who already agree with you and getting jabs in at your opponent. It's about winning. It's about using emotional manipulation to change someone else's feelings and not presenting facts to change their minds. Some claim to be intellectuals or academics in this whole Gamergate mess, and if that's the case, then Gamergate is a back alley brawl trying to convince me it's a chess match. I offer as evidence pretty much everything produced pro or anti-Gamergate. Now, I'll pick on one early one in particular because these are people who should have known better. The Gamers Are Dead articles. Now, why use the word dead? Because it has an emotional impact. These people are professional writers. They could have chosen to write articles like, "Our hardcore gamers are target audience." They didn't. They chose Gamers Are Dead specifically because it's a punch to the gut. It's an appeal to emotion designed to get an emotional response. And it worked. The emotional warfare has gotten to the point where people are willing to do things that are just fundamentally stupid. Not only people saying that this is the hill they're going to die on, but half of them brought their own rice paper and wakizashi with them. And speaking as a writer, it is so easy to get people to bite on stuff like this. All I need to do is wedge my foot in the door. I've said on Twitter that I'm in a position that I could make a lot of money by telling people what they want to hear. I don't do this because I have this pesky thing called morality stopping me. Many people don't, and to that end, Gamergate is the perfect vehicle. They just need to say one thing that you agree with, and gamers are this, or feminists or that, or whatever, and once they have your ear, you're more likely to listen to them and agree with them on more of what they tell you. So you keep coming back to them because you're willing to agree with them. So, Gamergate is perfect clickbait in that case. Just the word is enough to get hits, and since there's no real direction or leaders, you can tie it into any pet social ill that you want to and you can get hits. Like a piece, hate a piece, doesn't matter. The writers, bloggers, video producers, and gaming journalists don't care, just as long as they have an audience. And embracing one side or the other side is a way to gain that long-term audience. It's a win for everyone. Except for the gamers, we lose. Do you realize how bad we all look because of this? Do you realize how many women are being driven out of gaming because of this? Do you realize that gamers are starting to be called a hate group because of this? A lot of people just want this to end. They want everybody to just drop it and move on with their lives. Problem is, we can't. The core arguments being made are not only valid, but they need to be addressed sooner than later. I don't think we're in disagreement with them. The game journalists and indie reviewers should have a little more transparency about not only who they back personally, but when companies offer or give them gifts or incentives for good reviews. Gamers should treat women, and actually in fact everyone, with more respect. Gamers should not tolerate trolls within their culture. I don't think any sane person will disagree with these core elements. So that being the case, what's the fight about then? I don't think anyone involved really knows what they ultimately want or what they'll do if they actually get it. I think in a weird way, everyone wants the same thing. They want to make video games and gaming culture better. They just can't agree on how to do it without compromising what they want. So ultimately you get this seemingly perpetual war that's going on. Since no one has a win condition and everyone only hears and sees what they want to hear and see, the fighting will just simply keep escalating until someone with more power steps in. I've also told people that Gamergate has pushed gaming back to 1993, and I mean it. We are 2 senators away from being hauled in front of a hearing to explain that gamers are not a hate group. Which brings me here. Why did I start hiking at dark 30 in order to get in the middle of a big snowfield in the middle of freezing temperatures? Well, it's because I wanted to give you guys the punchline. And if the American Meteorological Service is correct, and I don't see why they wouldn't be, the punchline should be appearing right about there. It's not like in the movies, doesn't all happen at once. It's a lot more subtle than that. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the punchline, the sunrise. And being Wisconsin midwinter in about 9 hours, it's going to set somewhere over that way. Alright, maybe I should explain this one too. Gamergate has been going on for, what, a couple months now? And in spite of the hate, in spite of the Twitter explosions, and in spite of the threats and the utter insanity that it has become, life goes on. Yeah, people have been threatened and hurt by trolls from all sides of Gamergate. Yeah, several women and men have been driven out of the gaming industry by said trolls. And speaking personally, I've stopped talking to a lot of fellow producers who have chastised me for what I must think about Gamergate. But when the dust finally settles, the sun will rise, the sun will set, nothing will change. Major studios are still going to allocate money into their advertising budget to give gifts and incentives to journalists and live streamers. The journalists are just going to say what they need to in the short term to deflect the player base off of them. The extreme fringe of outraged gamers and feminists are only going to listen to what they want to hear, and they're going to entrench as they already have. Nothing will change in the industry, nor in the players. And that's actually the saddest part of this whole Gamergate thing. In short term, Gamergate is a moneymaker. I think this is why nobody has said in concrete terms what they expect out of all this, because if they actually got what they wanted, they'd have to stop producing material and they'd lose their cash cow. Long term, it's going to hurt video gaming as a whole. Not just one special little snowflake subsection, but everyone. And I would love to sit here and offer one-sentence solutions, but the truth of the matter is, it's not that easy. Anything offered is shouted down, and raw emotion wins by volume and not merit. The best I can hope for is that the rage machine runs out of gas sooner than later, and when everyone has calmed down enough, we can talk again. Until then, a lot of us have just left the discussion, only to get chased out of the room by people demanding we join their side in the war. I see nothing worth fighting for in Gamergate. Only destruction. There's a song by a band called Porcupine Tree that comes to mind, and I would love to play it for you, but YouTube would throw a hissy fit if I did. So let me see if I can remember the lyrics while I'm being frozen out here. I may waste away for doing nothing, but you're a martyr for even less.